Have you ever heard of RollerCoaster Tycoon?
A chicken?
This game from 1999 is what blew most early gamers out of the water. But I'm not here to talk about that Tycoon. I'm actually here because Tycoon games just haven't been fun recently. They're too complex for my taste and take way too long to get to the real fun stuff. So that's why I played through and analyzed Toilet Tycoon, otherwise known as Der Klomanager. That's German for the toilet manager. Probably one of the weirdest tycoons you'll ever see. It has been out since the year 2000, and it centers around public bathroom simulation. Seems like the perfect game for me. Opening up this Toilet Tycoon Deluxe, which it only calls itself Deluxe on the thumbnail for the Steam page, we're met with some insane features for 2000. The title screen has you sit and listen to a toilet flushing for 15 seconds. Every time you open the game. There is no way of skipping it whatsoever. Trust me, I have tried. By clicking every single button on my keyboard. Getting into this game, there are 3 competitors to choose from if you don't have any friends to play with. Yes, this game is multiplayer, and I don't have friends. So your competitors are Butt Rogers, Flush Gordon, and Mr. Methane.
Yeah, Mr. Methane!
Each character goes from easiest to most difficult. Most people who reviewed this game seem to struggle against all AI, but I digress. The premise of Toilet Tycoon is to purchase property, which are just bathrooms within the areas labeled the Red Light District, Station, Airport, and the suburbs. This is your office. On my first attempt, I accidentally flushed the toilet, which means my turn ends. So I have to do the map. Oh no! This wouldn't be a bad thing if each time somebody buys a property, the value goes up. This means on my second turn, it was impossible to buy literally anything. I can't buy anything. So I restarted. As you've seen, one catch about this game is after purchasing property, you barely have enough money to afford any actual toilets on your first turn. Purchasing property, however, you gain access to the most engaging part of the entire game: management. Der Klomanager strikes again. The bathrooms. There are 5 labeled columns, being general, flushes, bowls, seats, and last but not least, roll costs. This game does a good job at making you think there's literally nothing to do except for buy out the general tab. We'll do soap dispenser, a hand dryer. Considering you only need 3 to complete a toilet, you might just focus on expensive items like hand dryer, a soap dispenser, condoms, or sensor flush. Like any sensible person, you buy out as many stalls as possible. This way you can have max profits. So we have 1 that works. Then you head on your way to the office. This is where the real simulation starts. Kind of like the profit screen at the end of each night of Five Nights at Freddy's Pizza Simulator, you receive a sheet informing you of customers and profits at the end of each turn. Something else on the screen notable to mention is the location and pricing label for that specific stall. While editing and choosing a toilet's makeup, you can also decide the amount of money one must spend to use your pay-per-use stall. Once accepting the sheet, an on-chance random event will occur. For example, some local citizens blame you for the bad smell in their district and demand compensation of 5,000 euros. Do you choose to pay the money or go to court? These are make it or break it situations. Losing this 50-50 could completely ruin what comes next. So you take that gamble. What do you know? You won! After this random event, a king is chosen for the round. For the longest time, I didn't know what decided who was king, but after playing for a few hours, I suddenly realized what the game meant. The king is decided by who has the most money by the end of the last screen. If you are new to this game and don't understand how the gambles or management works, you're most likely to lose to the opponent. Okay, what the fuck is this? You didn't expect that, didn't you? Whoever wins gets a free item or $10,000 in cash. This is the second make it or break it situation. Seeing that my competitor received the emerald toilet seat made my heart fall out of my chest. An emerald toilet seat. Give him $10,000 and a kiss on the cheek for all I care. But an emerald toilet seat. I won't be able to use that thing for several more rounds, and he's getting to use it for his second shift. I'm screwed. Screwed was right, because not even a few shifts later and he's already franchising. No wonder why at the end of each round he's labeled as the pig of the match. I wish I was joking, but this is an actual menu that pops up before each shift. What does being the pig? So, you're telling me that one of the only ways to beat the AI is to be the winner of each round? Yes, and a no. What I didn't tell you was about the back room in your office. It acts as a black market, allowing you as the player to sabotage or destroy your other competitors. The sabotagers go from vandals to vomiters. Vandals being the less pricey of the two, allowing you to destroy the chosen property's toilets. Vomiters being a telltale name, you know exactly what they're trying to attempt. The less expensive the sabotage, the less likely they are to succeed at causing damage. That is because you or your competitor can catch them in the act. It also ends up being completely random if they succeed or not, so you could get the most expensive character every shift and still not follow through. This is important because there's something in the statistics of this game called cleanliness. This means that not only are the quality of your toilets a deciding factor, but how the bathrooms look as a whole. This is horrible, because entering any of your bathrooms at the beginning of any shift, you're met with a disturbing amount of graffiti, broken toilets, and worst of all, toilets that were pissed all over and vomited in. Please no. Dude, you have like $1 million. This isn't fair. Oh my god. He's just a winner. This is on lowest difficulty as well. What is this? Oh my god. Which one? Oh my, did he break all of the... Oh my, I actually can't take this. It's advised to repair any damages left on the previous shift, because if you slip up just one time, the sanitary board might show up and grade your property. Let's have a look. Going through each stall, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're unlucky, instead of seeing an okay after each check, you'll get an I see. Which is basically saying that you're screwed. Sending the sanitary board to your competitor could possibly fuck them over, forcing them to pay a fine. A fine from $10,000 to $30,000 is the usual asking price for a one-stall fault from the sanitary board. Each time you receive one more IC, it increases the amount of money drastically, up until you get all 4 stalls, which can lead to termination of that property. This game is completely unforgiving. On your first attempt, you're bound to fail, just like I have. But Rogers, I can't believe that's his name, will be the only forgiving AI in this entire game, because they didn't teach him all of the perfect methods of making money. Holy shit. Oh my god, he's screwed. He is screwed. He is screwed. He can't come back from this. I see. I see. I see. I see. He doesn't have anything. If you're planning on playing this game for yourself, I recommend getting all basic grade items, hand soap, and a soap dispenser, putting cotton toilet rolls, and setting the price to €3. That's only for starter game stalls. You know what? I completely forgot to tell you about the researching mechanic. Okay, please. I've been so caught up in the stall managing business that I completely forgot about the science aspect. If you've noticed, there is only 1 flusher and 1 seat available for purchase. That is not a glitch or something you slowly unlock with more customers you get. You unlock these toiletries by doing science. By clicking on the test tubes in your office, you're transported to the lab. 2 options, seats or flushes. It costs $10,000 at minimum price. This is at level 1. Later in the game, it costs up to $100,000 just to research for a new seat. The only way to progress to higher seats as well is to properly price your stalls so you gain more customers. This gets you promoted, thus allowing you to become smarter. Even just slightly changing your formula, though, gets you demoted, so be careful. Also, doing this research doesn't actually lock in that you get the new seat or flush. It's another gamble, because we all needed more of them. You are allowed to gamble more on the research working, but I honestly couldn't tell you if that works or not. This is why, not even 3 minutes into the video, I talked about the 50-50 gambles available at the end of each shift. Your competitor knows more about this game than you going into it. Not only does every cent count, but if you don't successfully get the king of the round, you will be miles behind. It's not only a needed prize, but one that is way more utilized by the AI because it knows its limits. You don't. It doesn't matter how much you send the sanitary board to their property. They will always bounce back with the amount of cash they make in return. It's scary. He cannot even pay 11Ks. That's so sad. Oh no. But Rogers, I'm sorry. I think it's because he only makes enough profit every single day to keep it for that one day. It's horrible. It's just horrible for him. If you lose your property, it's possible you won't even be able to buy any bathrooms. I can't buy anything. But the AI will always somehow have just enough money to get started all over again. The only way to beat the AI is by completing any of the set win conditions of your choosing before starting. Now that's what I call a difficult tycoon. On one side we have the game, the beautiful tycoon game. On the other side is the company that made this game. Anvil Soft, not to be mistaken for Microsoft, created the CD-ROM game known as Der Klomanager on March 1st, 2000. A turn-based managerial tycoon being the first game under this German IP, the first of 5. It was actually the worst version of Toilet Tycoon, from several sources saying it had low-quality textures compared to the current ones, no end-of-round events, no lawsuits or sanitary board, no soundtrack, and above all, no introduction screen that we all love. Yes, we. Without the polished game that we now have, this video would probably only be around 5 minutes long. The second game, which I don't know if we count Deluxe Edition as a new title, but here we are. Der Klomanager Gold Edition is here, with many of the current day things we have, lawsuits and sanitary board, end of round events, and a soundtrack for the background. This is almost everything on the checklist of what we were missing previously, so what comes next? Kartoffelpüree de Gemüse. Sorry, I apologize if my German sucks, but this is the next game in the Anvil Soft franchise. It has nothing to do with Toilet Tycoon, thank God. For my research, this game is a vegetable top-down shooter. I mean, it's in the name, mashed potatoes the vegetable shooter, but there is only one video I was able to find of decent quality, if not only for screenshots.
Frankel frotzelt. Heute, Let's Play, Kartoffelpüree.
Es ist Kartoffelpüree. Das war gut, das war gut. Auch wenn es natürlich auf Simple... Oh. Einfach alles raus, was ich hab. Oh, fuck. Fuck you.
Some of these veggies belong with Doug. If you've survived the countless waves of these annoying anchovy and potatoes, you'll encounter the boss of the level, e.g. a giant potato which tries to squash you while firing energy balls. Of course! It's interesting to note how small this team is. 3 people. For all of these games, 3 people only work on them, mostly through game design and programming. One thing certain is that Matthias Hoffmann, one of the creators, was most likely the director of both games. That being, he was credited on almost all of the categories except for the graphics and programming. Now it's time for the Dark Age. After the release of Kartoffelpüree in 2001, the company would lay stagnant for 5 more years, until light crept through the darkness. Toilet Tycoon 2006, this time being the last iteration. doing bug fixes that weren't fixed in the Gold Edition, and remaking almost all the textures present in the original games. This was also the first game of the 3 Toilet Tycoons to include an English thumbnail and in-game text. My assumption is that locally, Der Klomanager was doing so fairly well in Germany that they had to port it over to the West. That reason being because of games like RollerCoaster Tycoon. But wait! I said that Toilet Tycoon 2006 was the last game, even though I said there were 5 games. There's one more game under the name Anvil Soft. It was released in 1997, 3 years before the official registration of the company occurred. Pentium Disaster for the Atari-ST. The Atari-ST was one of the first developed gaming computers. Due to its low cost and ability to run games, it became a staple for developers.
That's pretty spectacular.
Sort of a robot monster coming out from under the sea, huh? So this
been
might be
around
like a
again.
movie opening or something like that.
Yes.
So, as a group project under the name Anvil Soft, Pentium Disaster was born. Another action shmup in the top-down style, very similar to another game. There's little to no info on this game, other than a 4-character select screen and a ship that flies around. I assume this game would play like Asteroids with a mix of Space Invaders. Sadly though, Toilet Tycoon 2006 was also the first and only version of Anvil Soft games to be available for download on Steam or any other globally accessible website. I haven't found any safe websites or CDs that would allow me to play the original games. Toilet Tycoon is seriously a relic of its time, and I'm astounded at its stature in the Tycoon genre. But with all the horrid graffiti, I was surprised to learn one small detail. This game was rated PEGI 3. For children? This game was a pain to analyze. I hope you really did enjoy this video. Please hype this, please like it, please consider becoming a member, because thank you to It's All Good, Darkest Fury GD, and Vivid Dramatic for being the top members. I made a playlist of all of my other videos like this, so please check them out. And thank you so much for watching. Goodbye everybody. Ciao.